So I've spent well over $1.5 million on ads for my business and brought back about $6 or $7 million in total sales. And I run mostly coaching businesses, and that's probably yourself as well. Like, let's be honest, most of the people watching these videos are online coaches or service providers, agency owners. And I wanted to talk from just very raw experience in the trenches, doing it, what I've learned that has enabled me to succeed so well with ads. Okay. And I've seen people literally go broke with ads, and I've also seen people like make ridiculous levels of riches and wealth. And if it weren't for what I'm going to be sharing with you in this video today, a couple key principles and strategies that I've adopted over the course of years of doing it and well over 7 figures in spend, then I likely wouldn't be where I am today in terms of my financial success, my freedom, my ability to live life on my own terms. And gosh, I mean, I just enjoy myself entirely. Like I can do whatever I want whenever I want on my own terms because I have mastered what I want to share with you today in this video. So if you are a coach or an agency owner, or you sell a service, a high ticket product over the phone, particularly this is going to be helpful for you. However, if you have another sort of a business as well, this is going to help you too. So I've written down a couple things that I want to share, and I'm just going to start from a very, very high level perspective, okay, and help you understand what ads actually are. Because people tend to not think in grander systems of how things relate to each other, and they think in isolated components. And when you do that, you can't gain mastery over a thing. It's kind of like how when you learn guitar, if you just studied what guitar strings are for 6 months, you wouldn't actually learn how to play guitar, right? You would just know what guitar strings are. It's the same thing with ads or sales or marketing in general or content creation or product design or any of these things. To be able to master something, you have to understand how all parts relate to one another and not just master a single part, right? So like I played guitar for 12 years. And like if you just studied how strings were made, you wouldn't be good at guitar, right? So I want to talk about how ads work and how they function inside of the context of a successful business and how to turn a dollar into 3 or 5 or 10 and how to actually consistently, even in today's extremely competitive advertising market where you have to be razor sharp, still do really, really well. There's this idea right now, it's very popular in the coaching space, mostly because people tried ads, did them wrong, and are being sold another opportunity. Like, oh, ads don't work, right? That's ridiculous. Organic works, ad works, everything works. Everything works if you do it the way that is required to do it for your specific offer in your context. So let me talk about this. The main advertising process, the main funnel that I'm used to is what's called a VSL funnel. You're probably familiar with it. Basically, you run an ad to an opt-in page. They give you some information. They watch a short video, and after that, they can book in a call to learn more about your services. And I have now generated well over 1,500 sales calls, maybe 2,000 sales calls using this system, okay? And in a new business that we're launching called Kingdom Content Creator Academy, where we're helping men, Christian men, make 5 to 10 grand a month online by becoming short form content managers, we're using this funnel as well. And we get a $30 to $40 cost per booked call, a $7 to $8 lead. And of those calls, about 60% show up. And right now, about 18% buy on that first meeting and about 24% buy within the first month of their meeting with us. And so we've got a really, really solid campaign there. And the way that you structure ads is by working backwards from the offer and the avatar. And then you have to figure out how to use a 30 to 90 second video spot or a quick visual spot to call them out, create intrigue, and then create a call to action. So it's very, very simple. And once you get to the level of understanding that I've gotten to, where I'm very, very high in my awareness of these concepts, some people are lower in their awareness. And so I'm going to speak in some terms that if, as I'm sharing them don't quite make sense, please tell me in the comments and I'll remake this video or make it better for you. But to draw out a funnel process, let's just say start to finish, right? And I'll just use a VSL funnel as an example. Your ad needs to do a couple things. So this is the ad. And we move down the funnel to a sale. Okay? So the ad needs to achieve a couple of things. Okay? So the ad needs to call out the key group that you're going for. So who are you actually targeting with this, right? And what's neat about calling out a key group to start your ads, most ads, they are, especially if they're video ads, they're a little broad for a sec. If in your video ad, you call out the group. So in our ad, we say, hey, if you're a Christian man and, you're looking to work remote and control your hours and build something online, right? Like we call them out. If you're this group and you want this outcome, right? I want to teach you this mechanism and means of achieving it, okay? In order to do so, come take the next step. This is call to action. So our call to action is come register for this video, and that gets them to take the next step down the funnel. So ads fundamentally are just a source of energy. Traffic, attention. Attention is energy, and it's your job to channel that energy into a profitable conversion. You have to get more energy out for what you're putting in, get more return for what you're putting in. Money's just a source of energy, and you got to be able to channel that energy into a profitable intersection, if that makes sense, where you're getting more out than what you're putting in. So by calling out a key group, the algorithm learns to show it more to that person. We mostly advertise on Facebook, and the algorithm's so incredibly advanced that if you just call out a key group, you end up getting a lot of those people because those are the people who stop to pay a little bit of attention. Do it really quickly. If you want this outcome, I want to teach you this process or strategy of doing it. Come check it out. Or, right? So this mechanism also needs predefined. So in order for a coaching business to thrive, you need to have a group of people, an outcome, and a mechanism. GOM. Group of people, an outcome, and a mechanism. And have these things predefined. Who you're serving, right? What group are you serving? What's the outcome that you're driving for them? Okay, and how are you going to drive that outcome? Fundamentally, this is all a coaching business is. And so predefine these things. And then in your ad, just say it. It's actually so simple. People overcomplicate ads like crazy. It's so simple. Just say it. Hey, if you're this group and you want this thing, I want to teach you this way of getting it. Come learn more. And, you can expand on the mechanism and why it's better, why it's different than other options. And this is how you can compete in markets that are very saturated. By introducing new mechanisms, people who've already been advertised to, they've already heard all the strategies. Introduce a new mechanism or a new way of doing things that is better or new or different, and you can create this separation from other people that they've been advertised to. Okay, so let's talk about this next step. So ours is the video, okay? Obviously, in between this, they opt in and they give us their name, phone, and email, okay? And so we market to email and SMS to these leads. And so on the video, what we're trying to do is expand further out the promises we made in the ad, which is, hey, if you're this group, you want this outcome, I want to teach you this mechanism, come check it out, right? Such a simple framework. And nobody necessarily taught me this. It just, working backwards from first principles makes the most sense, right? So first principles thinking is boiling things down to the most simple pieces and making decisions based on their most fundamental principles, the most fundamental concepts, which all advertising is getting a key group of people to do a thing that you want them to do so you can sell them something. So the video, all it does is reinforce that group, call them out at the beginning, drive a little bit of pain, explain how our mechanism can solve that pain, show some proof, and then spend some time explaining our offer, and then encourage people to book a call about the offer. It's again, very, very simple. Super, super simple. And, this creates for us, we get today in particular, we're at a $10 lead. So I'll just say that we've had as low as a $7 lead. I'd say average is like $9 lead, maybe $8 lead. I'd say $7 to $9 lead. Let's just say that because we've only done this for like 2 months, right? So, and then the video gets us a really, really solid booking rate. We're booking, I think, 20% of the people off the video, which is really good for industry norms because we've really defined the group, we've really defined the outcome, or really I've taken the time to define the outcome and really speak about it in a way that moves people to action. And I've built a mechanism that is believable, new, it has a low perceived barrier of entry, so it feels like something that people could really do to get the outcome. And then I have a really strong call to action. So when I say book your call, I'm literally I'm going right for the jugular. I'm like, look, the power of a mentor, the power of somebody to guide you through this, etc., right? And then you have the sales call itself. And on the sales call, what we've done is before the sales call even happens, we've already sold them on our mechanism, right? So now what we have to do is pre-warm them before the sales call on us a little bit. Because, if you have a group and they have an outcome that you're driving and there's a mechanism that you're driving it with, The last sale you have to make is the person that's going to be helping them. So you have to sell them on the person, you have to sell them on the mechanism, and then you can sell them on the program or the product. A $2 to $5 to $10 to $20, $50,000 product or program. So you have to be sold on the mechanism, sold on the outcome they want it, right? And they have to believe in the person. So before the sales call in our funnel, I spend some time describing who I am and what makes me different than other people they might have learned from before. And then also I just add a bunch of value. So we've got like a 30-minute free training on like how to like go out and sign your first clients $500 to $1,000 a month. Like if they do everything in the training, they're going to do it, And then they come onto the sales call completely warmed up to everything that we have to say. And they've only digested like an hour of content. So this idea of like they have to digest like 7 hours of content, yes, it helps. Maybe if they listen to you long enough, they're going to hear the things they need to hear to buy. That's very true. Like if you just keep talking long enough, people will be like, oh, they picked up that, and they picked up that, and they picked up that, and now they're ready to buy. But a funnel takes all of that stuff and just compresses it way down, right? So that instead of having to just keep, thanks, babe. My wife just brought me some food. Instead of having to just keep making stuff, and people eventually are like, oh, you said this thing, and did you just pop on the camera? That's cute. Instead of just having to make content over and over again, and eventually somebody responds, which I did that. In my first business, my first $1 million year, I did with this YouTube channel. So you can scroll back, like I used to help people start social media marketing agencies. That's what I used to do. I just made videos about it, and because I grew mine to like 60 grand a month, so I just used to do that. And that was my first $1 million a year business. And so I think what's important to understand is ads are just a source of attention, okay? What you have to get obsessed with is what people respond to and how to get them to take the actions that are mutually beneficial both for you and for them, okay? And the way that you do this, honestly, is just by failing and learning, but also by getting really, really good mentorship of people who understand human psychology. The best marketers are people who are obsessed with why people do what they do. And whether people do what they want them to do or they don't, they treat as data and they just learn from that. And so, this is why for me, like the best thing I've ever done is, invest, I think it was like $200,000 now. 100's actually low. At least 200 grand on masterminds, mentors, being in the right rooms, learning from people and how they're positioning what they do. Right? So ads are the beginning of a relationship. Okay? And all you're doing is expanding on the terms of that relationship within the funnel. And then when it comes time for the close, again, that's the beginning of a relationship. And then once they're in your product, you're expanding on the terms of that relationship. So all you're doing is using the things that they want, the pre-existing desires that they already have in their head, and then channeling them into what it is that you do. So with our new offer, KCCA, for example, Christian men who want freedom and income online. Like the core driver that they want is like freedom, maybe status, but not quite. Freedom, a sense of autonomy, maybe some status. And I'm channeling that into our mechanism. So in our video, it takes me 2 minutes before I get to even explaining, what it is that we teach. Because at that point, then I take the time to explain why short form content is the best way to do what it is that they're wanting to do, which is, make 5 to 10 grand a month online. Because it's just like the service that I started with back in the day. I used to do these basic social media services, and it's just a great place to start online if you've never done something before, and I just don't think that that's ever really going to change because it's such an expansive market. So, look, I know this is a bit messy, but to boil it down to a couple key principles for you so that you take something away from this video, and honestly, I love just speaking from the heart here. Principle number 1 is predetermine the group, the outcome, the mechanism, and the character. The character being you or the face of the business. Predetermine these things. Get them clear, right? Get them clear and test on a very, very low level. $10, $20 a day test is all you need to really make sure that the mechanism, the outcome, the person are all being sold very, very well. Okay, and if you make one sale, then you have proof of concept, honestly. Like one sale, especially one happy student or customer, proof of concept is established. At that point, the next step is to determine the economics of the funnel. So I spend one, what exactly do I get back? In what time horizon do I get that back? Right? And how much risk am I willing to take on? Because if I don't make an ROI within the first 30 days, but maybe I make an ROI in 90 days, am I willing to take that risk? Right? Which I personally don't. I like when I have a 30-day quick return. Right now I believe we're at like 4x on cash, meaning payments actually made. and just under a 7x on revenue, meaning payments to be made. So we're turning $1 into 7 within a 90-day time horizon and $1 into 4 within a 30-day time horizon, right? So get clear on your economics. Know your numbers. Highly recommend you use a software like Hyros or a tracking software that plugs into your payment processor so you can actually see live on the ads dashboard your returns, okay? The next thing is, as a principle, make your own informed decisions based on the data. If you don't know what to do based on your data, that's where you need to get outside help. So fundamentally, all good mentorship is extremely informed opinions on human psychology and why they do what they do. Like if you're going to get a marketing mentor, like let's say you work one-on-one with myself. I help people reach 100 to 500 grand a month with their coaching offers. I love doing it. It's a blast. And I've got this one-on-one client where we just changed one little thing about the way they position their offer. And it took them from 20 grand a month to 60 grand a month in like a couple months, or actually less, like 45 days. Because there was one little thing that they were missing in their offer. And to be particular, what they were missing was in KCCA, which is my B2C offer, we have this tangible component to the investment where we actually source editors for them. So if they want to get into short form content, we give them editors out the gate. So they have a network of editors that can handle this service, and they still keep 70-80% profit margins on the retainers that they sign following our guidance. And so there's a tangibility component. My client, they were just doing pure mentorship, and mentorship is a hard thing to sell to cold traffic. It's almost like you lead with the tangible, and then the mentorship ends up being a really solid side bonus that they get on top, right? And so that's a really powerful thing, a little shift. So a little thing like that, you never know. Sometimes it's a little tweak or a little change like that. Like if you're doing 10, 20, 30 grand a month, sometimes you just need somebody to just give you a little tweak and show you a little thing. And obviously, if you're interested, my link's in the description. You can learn more about my help. But even if it's not me, like you need to get somebody who is marketing at a higher level than your marketing and has more experience and has spent more and has learned more lessons, because one little thing is often the big difference. The next principle, the next thing that I want to share with you is I want you to work backwards, not just from your sales call data, not just from what you learn from people click on your ads and stuff. I want you to observe student experience and get inspired angles from their experience. So for example, I've noticed that the most successful students of ours in our program so far right now, they have a key trait. And I kind of don't want to give it away because it's really, really good. But they have a key trait. And so I started speaking about that key trait on the front end. So when I mention the group in my ad, I say, hey, if you're this group, you want this outcome, come check this out. I've got this mechanism, this thing that can help you. I mention that trait in the group very subtly. But because of that, now we have leads. Like I'd say 70 to 80% of our leads are leads that if they bought our program would succeed with it, right? Because I didn't just source from my own intellectual knowledge of my marketplace, but I sourced from my experience with my marketplace. What common traits am I observing amongst students that are not just buying, but doing well, right? What character traits or situational life traits do they share? And so now I'm calling them out in the ads. So you can see how, and I'll pull up or I won't do a whiteboard. I can just do it here. You can see how there's sort of a feedback loop component to making a funnel work. So you have a hypothesis, then you test it. Based on the data, you make a change and you iterate and take action again. So it's just this cyclical thing of testing, looking at the data, and making an informed decision based on your own opinion or a higher source, a mentor or a guide, and then taking that and running it back into the system once again. And it's just that iterative process. Once you have something that works good enough, meaning you're turning $1 into 4 or 3 or however profitable you want to be, then that's when you have the permission to start to slowly increase the throughput of your system. You want to be careful with ads. Ads are dangerous. It's like playing with fire. Like if you don't scale with intelligence, you can lose a ton of money. And I did. And I've made this mistake where I thought I had something and I moved way too quick and I lost a boatload of money, right? But then now with this new offer, I'm taking my time. I'm in really no hurry. I want to find the perfect angle or test different ideas here, get something really, really good, and then, start to aggressively expand. And so yeah, I hope that this has been a helpful video for you. This is more of a philosophical approach on what makes ads really work. A couple key things that I find people get hung up on is like the audience. And honestly, I'll be real. Like audience on Facebook doesn't have as much of a say, honestly, as your pixel optimization and who your ad is calling out. Because if you just do open audience, no targeting, but in your ad, you clearly call out a group, you clearly call out a pain or a desire, you clearly identify a mechanism and how it's different than maybe what they've heard before, and you give them a next step, then Facebook will find these people, or YouTube will find these people, as long as the pixel is optimizing for, the next step. And this is where you use a software like Hyros or something to actually properly track that, because otherwise you're going to lose a ton of people. So look, I want to make more content like this. I want to make more ads, funnels, sales, marketing content. I love this stuff. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Bit of a rambly video, but maybe a valuable one nonetheless. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.